All right. Good evening, and welcome to everybody. I want to say thank you all for joining us tonight for this swap reunion. I'm so excited. How about you, Anita?
I'm so excited. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, I hope you all let me know if you can see us. Let me know if you can hear us. And I do apologize for the delay. Of course, sometimes there's technical difficulties, and we want to make sure that everything is straight, making sure that this is sent out to everybody. So thank you for your patience. As you can see, we are down one. But that's okay. So we're going to go ahead and roll on with the show. I will have a surprise for you a little bit later on. But hello, hello, hello. Hey, Miss Divya, how art thou? Thank you all for coming in. Diana, thank you so much for your patience. We appreciate you. Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so I do not want to delay this, but I do want to say thank you so much, Anita, for taking the time to chat with me yet again. And as you just kindly reminded me, I know I've been saying it's been 5 years since we've been together, but it's been almost 6 years.
Almost 6 years. Yep. It was November of 2018.
Wow.
Oh, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, but wow.
It doesn't. It doesn't. Hey, Suzette, how art thou? My famous how art thou? All right, so yeah, let me just tell you about, hey, Deborah, let me just tell you about what this is all about. Because I had somebody ask me, so what is this about? I was like, okay, this is basically what we did about 5.5 years ago. Anita Morris, of course, you all know Anita from Anita by Designs. If you don't know who she is, shame on you. we'll talk about we'll talk about that a little bit later. Hey, Sherelle. Um, so Anita, myself, and Shari with my Daily Threadz, we did a conversation, and I don't like to say interview, but it was just a chat out, that we did one evening, and we all were on the same sync. Like we were all talking about this swapping situation, and at that time, the So Much Talent group was talking about decluttering your way to success. We were actually going through this book read right here by Terry Savelle Foy. Do you remember that, Anita?
I remember. I
Yeah,
didn't know about that book until we had that chat. I didn't know you
yeah,
were in that book. Yeah.
yeah. And you were on the same path. I mean, you were basically doing the exact same thing, decluttering. And what our discussion was at that time is that you really can't move forward. You can't think clearly. You can't do the things that you want to do because you're so cluttered with other stuff. But as you declutter and then you set a purpose and a plan for creating your wardrobe, is where we were going with that. And lo and behold, you were doing the same thing. And you were doing your swapping, sewing with a plan blog series at that same time. And at the very same time, Cherie was just coming out with her So Planet Planner. And so it was just amazing how, we were all on that same path. You have yours too. So, and I still go through it, and it's the pages and everything in it is so pretty. I don't even want to,
I
I
know.
haven't even gotten rid of it. And I know it's
No, just from 2020, and I still have mine because it's 2 years
right,
ago.
right. So, and I won't get rid of that. I still use it. I love the pictures and everything. But so that's what we did. We got together. We decided we would just sit down and have a discussion about how to sew with the plan. And so, with that, Anita, I'm going to let you go in and talk about how you came up with your series. What made you come up with your series? Because there were some um, pivotal moments, occurrences in your life that brought you to that point. And but this was a jump start, really, for everything else to come later. So tell everybody who you are, just in case there's somebody out there that doesn't know who you are. And by the way, my name is Alethea. I forget to say that every time. But tell everybody who you are, and then talk about your the swap series that you did.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Anita Morris, and my handle is Anita by Design, and my passion, my heart's passion, is to help encourage, inspire, and teach new beginners how to sew. So I have an online sewing course called Learn to Sew Mastering the Basics, where I just walk beginners through the entire process of learning how to sew their own garments. And I also have a YouTube channel, and I started with a YouTube channel where I do sew alongs, I post different tutorials, and so that's how I got started. But in 2018, I lost my husband. My husband passed away from brain cancer, and that was in April. And as you can imagine, I was devastated, and I was just going through my grief process and not really knowing what to do or what I was supposed to do. I was just kind of in a fog of just trying to understand where I was. And come November, I had gotten to the point where I was ready to just get rid of things. And what prompted that was I wanted to change out the tile in my house. So in order to change out the tile, I think I had already changed it out downstairs, and I wanted to change it upstairs in my sewing studio and my closet. And so in order to do that, I had to clear things out. So I had already decluttered downstairs, and I decided, okay, it's time to declutter upstairs. And so I just started going through my upstairs, including my sewing studio, and just clearing things out and clearing things out. And as a result of clearing all of that physical clutter out of my space, that was the year that I wrote my book. No, it was 2020 when I wrote my book, but clearing all of that clutter out opened me up to go into the next step of writing my book. So I went through a process of decluttering my closet. That's where it started. I cleaned out all of the clothes that I was no longer wearing. And you know what? What else prompted that was I kept going into my closet and seeing things that I used to wear. Like my husband and I, we would go different places, and I had all of these event outfits, but I didn't really have practical clothing because I wasn't really going the places that my husband and I used to go. I mean, I had, everyday jeans and t-shirts and that type of thing, but I had a lot of event clothing that you wear it one or two times and then it's just sitting in your closet. So I had a whole lot of that, and I decided, okay, I need to change the way I'm sewing. I need to start sewing for my new lifestyle, and I need to start sewing things that I'm going to wear over and over again, not just event clothing. So that's really what prompted it. The decluttering, to do my house was part of it, but getting myself in order with changing the way I was sewing was actually the foundation of the Swap series. So I went through and decluttered my closet. Then I decluttered my patterns. I decluttered my fabric, and people were hot about that one, honey. I decluttered.
Yeah, that made us all sweat.
They were I can't get with you on this one. I can't get with you. So each time I did a step, so the first step was decluttering my closet. So I wrote a blog post and shared exactly how I was doing it. I was walking people through the steps that I took to declutter my closet. And then with the patterns, I did the same thing. And then with the fabric, I did that. And then I did one on how to plan your sewing projects. And I was just sharing what I was doing along my journey, along my process. And it was a lot of fun. And Shari from My Daily Threadz, she was one of, I'm going to call her a sponsor, because I reached out to her and two other people to see if they would do giveaways, because I wanted to have giveaways during the series. And she was gracious enough to give us, to give away. I think she gave away two of her planners, the Sew Planet. And I was like, wow, that was amazing. So yeah, that's how it all got started. Just me wanting to change the way I had been sewing and to be more practical, sewing things that, fit my new lifestyle.
Right. Now, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, sound like my sound is muted a little bit. But yeah, so Carol, give me just a second. So yeah, we were going through a little bit of changes there when you started going through that blog series. I mean, I think we were with you with the clothes. We were with you with decluttering that closet. But then you started going through those patterns.
Yeah.
And then you started going through that fabric, and we was like, whoa. Okay, that was hard.
It was hard. And you know what? When I took out all of those patterns, I put them, I have a large cutting table and I put all of those patterns, I just took them out of the drawers and put everything on top of the table just to get a visual of how many patterns I had. And I
Okay.
was kind of appalled. I was like, why? Why do I have all of these patterns? And then when I
Yeah.
started going through, I put labels on a different table, or actually I had these boxes set up, and I said keep, give away, donate, sell, whatever I was gonna do.
Yeah.
And I just started going through one by one and picking out the patterns, and I got rid of so many. But
Yeah.
one of the comments that I remember from that blog post, and when I think about it, I'm just laughing inside. One of the ladies said, that one right there, I want that one right there, and keep that one for me. And I was like, wait a
Since
minute,
you're giving it away now.
yeah, my purpose was to inspire other people to do the same. And they were like, no, I want that one, I want that one.
That was hilarious.
It
But
was
you know what? It was all in good fun. And Michelle, like Michelle was just saying, one of the things that we were motivated by, and the message was clearing your space, clearing your mind.
yeah,
And that was the overall message.
yeah,
When you can clear your space, it does clear your mind to be able to think more clearly, to set a plan, and to plan accordingly. Because a lot of times, yeah, we still do it now. That we will sow. We have all these challenges and everything going on, and everybody's, oh, I'm gonna do that challenge. I'm gonna support that challenge. I'm gonna do this, and then we have all these pieces and nowhere to wear it, or we have one-offs, and we start building our closet. Like, I'm not going to even tell you where my closet is right now. I need to go through that whole swap series again. And but I like the fact that you really guided everybody. It like you took it in chunks. Like it wasn't a one off. You just said, okay, just get rid of all your clothes, get rid of all your patterns.
mhm,
You did it in segments, so it was easy to kind of rip that band-aid off. You know,
yeah.
but how many people? Um, I'm sure you had testimonials from that time frame, because I know with us doing the decluttering, your way to success, this was a lot of juicy nuggets in here
Mhm.
to because it's you find out it's not just about the fabric, it's not just about moving the clothes out your closet. Like you even went through your furniture and a lot of stuff in your home. You
My
just
entire house.
really went through and decluttered.
Yeah.
So, what kind of testimonials came out of that series by you doing that?
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember women reaching out to me. I remember people sending me private messages in the Facebook and on the Instagram, and then of course there were comments on the blogs. If you guys go back and look at the blogs, if you go to my website anitabydesign.com and then go to the sewing tab, and then in the search bar type in swap, SWAP, and that stands for sewing with a plan. If you go and type
Mhm.
that in, you'll see all of the different posts I did on that series, and there were just some really beautiful comments that were left there about how it inspired other people to do the same thing. And that was, that was the purpose, because I knew how I was feeling as I was going through the process and getting rid of things, and how it almost felt like I could breathe again. If that makes sense. It's like,
Yeah,
because for me, I don't like clutter. Alethea, I never have. I've never liked clutter. But for
right.
me, and some of you who are listening may be or may resonate with this, but for me, I have my clutter, but my clutter is organized and it's neat and it's tidy and it's put away. So,
Hmm.
when it's not tidy and put away, you can bypass it as being clutter.
Right.
But when I went through and started getting rid of the things that no longer served me, or things that were just simply there for years and I couldn't see myself using them, in the near future, or the far future, I just said, just let it go, let it go. And I had to pass through several times. For instance, when I did the decluttering my closet, and I wrote this in the blog post too, that I went through the first time and got rid of everything that I knew I would never wear again. And
Mhm.
then I went through the second time and got rid of the things that I bypassed from the first time because I was being like, oh, I made this and this,
Yeah.
I remember this and that, but I'm never going
Right.
to wear it again. So and the
Right.
second time I got rid of those things. And then I did a third pass, and I think on the fourth pass. And the fourth pass was the things that I was holding on to for sentimental reasons
Mhm.
that I felt like, okay, time is up. It's time to let it go. Now, my husband's clothes were not a part of that. I wasn't ready to let those go, so I still held on to those. It was later on that
Mhm.
I got rid of those. But yeah, so I felt like after I let the things go, I could I could exhale and then move on
Right.
to the next thing.
Right.
So going through the closet, I did the several passes. Going through the patterns, I did it, and then the fabric. Yeah, the fabric. Well, I think the fabric was the hardest one.
Yeah.
Because woo, I know Carol will agree. I wish.
Yeah, she listen. Well, Carol, I don't know if she has even room to talk because she is the fabric whisperer. Go around collecting everybody's fabric. We might need to help her declutter.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder. I'm going to go back and look at that blog post when I wrote about decluttering fabric. I'm going to go look back and see if she commented on that because I can only imagine what she
I
said.
bet she was real quiet. I bet she had not one thing to say. But you know what, Carol, and let me tell y'all, I have a surprise for you all a little bit later. Give me just a little bit, and I'm going to bring our surprise guest in. But um, I want to say that I'm sure I speak for everybody that followed you during that time, during that series. It was very helpful for me. It made me think about a lot of things, especially in comparison to this, that was able to relate to a lot. But it was your transparency, especially during that very vulnerable time. Like you walked through, you lived your life out loud during
Yeah,
that time and every step of the way. And it was in a way that we all could relate. It may not have been due to the loss of a loved one, but, just anything we were relating to during that time, having to let go,
yeah,
having to empty out, um, because we keep a lot, we harbor a lot. And especially as creatives, like we want to keep everything, you know. But for me, now I struggle because I'm like, I had clothes I made. I'm gonna be very honest, Anita, and don't hold it to me.
come
I didn't
clean.
get to the second, third, and fourth round. I still need to go. I need to go to the second, third, and fourth round. But there are some things that I still have that it's just hard to let go of.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking like right now I need to go back and visit that blog series.
yeah,
But seriously though, I think this is a great time to go back and visit that swap series because
yeah,
it's very instrumental the way you did it, how you did it in parts. And I love the way you separated. I'm just gonna get rid of this stuff, the goodwill stuff, sell.
hmm.
You had your piles and separated it. Did that make it easier by compartmentalizing where these things were going?
It made the project easier. Yes, definitely. But when it came, for instance, when it came time to get rid of the fabric, I don't know if it made it easier for me to get rid of the fabric, but it made the project easier. Like
Hmm.
I had the steps to go through, so I didn't have to sit there and think about, okay, well, what am I going to do with this fabric? I'm gonna let this piece go, but what am I going to do with it? So having a plan and an organization or a strategy on how I was going to do it, that was very, very helpful. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. And
Now I want to say, go ahead. I'm sorry.
you know what else? You were sharing about how you never got to the other rounds. I think even going through the entire process the way I did and going, through the different steps in multiple rounds, I still don't think it's a one and done because as we continue to go through life, we're still going to accumulate things unless we're really, really, strict in our discipline. We're
Right.
still going to accumulate things. So I'm at a place right now where I'm starting over. I don't know if you saw that post um, where I'm going through the process again myself. So it's
Okay.
not like you do it one time and that's it. You'll never do it again. I don't think that's the case for most of us, anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe there are some who are very disciplined and I would love to be there, but I'm not
Yeah.
100% disciplined in that yet. But
Yeah. That's a
I
great
have,
point.
yeah, yeah. I have done a whole lot better though. So that's been almost 6 years, and I have still held to my standard of not being um, part of this pattern sale. Every time the stores or Joann's or whoever comes up with a pattern sale, I'm not running out to the store every single time. And I'm very proud of myself for that because, honey, I used to be on it. If there was a sale, I'm going to go and get my 99-cent pattern, my 199-cent pattern. I was going to do it. But after that, I did not. I was 100% for many years after that,
Hmm.
Olivia, where I didn't go to those pattern sales. If I wanted a pattern, I had it on my list. I keep a list on my phone, and I would wait for the sale and I would go and get that pattern, but I wasn't going through all the books to pick up all of the different patterns because I didn't
Right.
want to get back to the place of where I was before. I think I
Right.
had, I don't know, maybe over 500 patterns. I put the number in that blog post. I
Yeah.
put how many patterns I started with and then how many I had left after I decluttered everything. But
Yeah.
I haven't done that. Now, lately, most recently, when the new look patterns discontinued at Hobby Lobby, I acted a fool. I went in there and just acted a fool and just got all the patterns.
Uh,
It was
we're
fun.
not going to even talk about that because
I know I'm
I
the
think
only
we
one.
all kind of acted a fool. And to your point, I'm like you. I wasn't one, and I'm still not one to just go and jump and go get the patterns, just because they're on
Yeah.
sale. Now I'm one too, and I'm sure you're like this. I love to support others, and
Mhm.
I will do stuff to support, other crafters, to do that. But to just get the patterns to have them, I
Mhm.
wasn't one to do that. But I got bit by that New Look 99-cent bug, and I went slap crazy. I
Oh
did,
my
but I did grab some patterns that I felt like I would really use,
yeah, me too. Me
because
too.
now I'm at the point where I feel like there, and I'm sure you agree that there are patterns that they're just repeated. They're repeating themselves, and like you have stuff in your stash that you can actually copy. That you don't
Mhm.
need to buy a new one. It's the same pattern, or you
Yeah.
can change the elements and designs of it and get the same look without having to
Yep.
go out. I
Mhm.
don't care how much it costs. Now if you just want some pattern paper to create, to use it to transfer stuff, then fine. But I think like that.
Yeah.
You know, there's one question I want to ask, and we'll get back to that. And I want to say hey to everybody's coming in: Kim, Erica, Michelle. Um, thank you so much, and Rena. Thank you so much for coming in. Um, so yeah, there's a question that Lady Nick asked, and we'll get back to that a little bit later. So hold that thought, Lady Nick. But I want to go ahead and bring our guest in right now. But at some point, I want to go back a little bit. I want to talk about how we first got connected. And I was trying to remember. I remember where I met Shari, and but I we did connect early on, so I'll talk about that a little bit, and then we want to talk about where you are now, because so much stuff has evolved since then. Like
Yeah.
everything was like a snowball effect once that happened, and you kind of talked about that. Like when you declutter, it kind of frees you up and it allows you to move forward. And
Yeah.
so after that, it's almost like you kind of just start taking off, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that too. So
Okay.
I want to go ahead and bring our surprise guest in, if
Okay.
you all don't mind. And for those of you that have questions, hang on to those, and we'll get to those. Okay. Hey, Lady Demetra. Um, let's see here. Oh my God! Look at this. We It is the fabric whisperer herself.
Oh, yay!
It is Carol. Oh my gosh! I love how you set your handle, the fabric
Hello,
whisperer.
That's
ladies.
the truth. Hey, Carol.
Hi,
Y'all, without if
Anita.
y'all don't know who this lady is, shame on y'all again, two times over. Listen, I'm bringing Carol to the table because Carol was in on that conversation 5.5 years ago also. She came in and she let her 2 cents, if you will, about swapping. So I just wanted to bring her back to the table again, and I mean, and make it a true reunion. I hate that we're missing Shari,
Cherie.
Oh,
um, but it's gonna be fun, and I hope everything is well with her.
yeah.
Um, but Carol, for those that may not know who you are,
Oh
tell us who
my.
you are.
Okay, I'm Carol, the fabric whisperer.
Mhm.
And I'm also Auntie Carol out in the TikTok streets. I've gained that name as Auntie Clapper because they know how I am about ironing and getting things right and turning corners and all of that stuff. So we won't go there. But you all are going to be very proud of me. So June 2022, no, 23, I redid my sewing room. Well, one day I went in there to do work because I'm like Anita. I cannot do work without clutter. I clean my room up at the end of the day so my room is clean. When I come back in, it's the only way I can work. Now, I don't mind dropping threads on the floor and getting a little dirty when I'm in the process, but it's got to be clean at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I did one of my videos where and I throw patterns over my shoulder and I throw fabric over my shoulder and I left it like that. So I stayed out of my room for about a week because I just didn't feel like cleaning it up. So finally, I was like, all right, I went in there and my husband peeked his head in and he was like, I'm not gonna be able to fit in there. I'm like, you know what? I need a new start. So I sat down and figured out what I was gonna do in my sewing room. I did a quick design of how I wanted it to go. And then he was like, what are you going to do with all this fabric? I said, I have to go through that. I'm going to go through all of these patterns. I'm going to go through this fabric because now I had to make everything fit this design now that I had in my head. I went through my fabric closet and I literally pulled about, it had to be easy 100 yards. And it put a dent maybe about that big in my my fabric closet because I still beg for fabric and I do still have people sending me goodies in the mail. So don't stop sending goodies in the mail because I work hard for that bag and I work hard for my fabric. So I'm just saying, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to pull this stuff that's been here for a long time. I know I'm not going to make anything out of it. I know I'm not going to do anything with it. And I just started stacking it up and I bought bins, I got suitcases out, and I was like, I'm just gonna give all of this stuff to Goodwill. So to get it out of my room, I put it in my living room because I knew I wanted to start the build in my fabric room. I mean in my sewing room. So during that time, me, Keith, and Casey was like falling and tripping and stepping over fabric in the living room. We couldn't have anybody over because I was like, no, not. I mean, I know I'm giving this away, but it's still fabric. You're still attached to it. So I had one day where, okay, we went in, me and Keith went in, we built the cabinets in the room. I got everything done, everything fresh. I still had all this stuff in the living room. So one day I just said, you know what? We had planned to have an auction. Auntie Carol's going to auction the fabric. But for some reason, that didn't happen. So one day I just got a live on TikTok. I had my phone. I was like, live. I'm giving away all this fabric in my living room. And you should have seen everybody joining this live. So I'm like, if you want it, put up a green heart. I even had to have moderators because everybody was joining and joining. It took me 3 days to pack and send all that fabric off to people. I just
Wow.
told everybody, you pay for shipping. When I hold it up, you can have whatever you want. And I wasn't sweating. Remember that time I had Miss Cree shop my closet? And I was like, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God. And she was like, wait a minute, go back, go back, go back. And I was like, oh, how am I going to give away a piece of fabric? Because before we did the shop my closet, me and Casey was in there just snatching. I was like, get that piece, get that down. We can't give that away. At all the ones I wanted to say, we just had like a snatch it and put it
I
away.
remember that. I
And
remember Carol's like, no, I can't get rid of that piece. Oh no, that's not.
the piece that she snatched, we forgot to grab. So, but we're not going to say nothing about that. But I gave away literally it was 100 yards of fabric. It might have been even more. And I mean, I gave
Wow.
away gems. I gave away 100% wools. I gave away some cashmere, some silk. It
Wow.
was just it had to go because I was like, I'm not starting anew if I don't get this stuff away. Look, not to mention that my cabinets didn't fit everything. So when I got rid of the fabric, another thing is I did is I got rid of all my whips. I was like, I'm not gonna do these. So I took
Ooh.
all the pins out because I have pins in them or whatever. I took the patterns off of the ones that had patterns on them, and I just, you know, gave them away. I asked my friends that sew that are local, do you want to finish putting this together? And some I got rid of only two. A friend of mine took two, but the rest of them, I'm just like, well, then I'm just gonna get rid of it. And so I was able to literally start fresh and start clean. But now, as far as my closet, I rotate that, you know, often, all the time, pretty much at the end of the year or during a season,
Mhm.
because I found the first time that I did a big haul in my closet was my first time giving away things that I made. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, well, maybe I'll lose 1,000 pounds and I'll get back into this. Because you do realize how much time you spend on these. And then I'm like, well, no, that's kind of outdated. All I needed was my husband. Keith walked in the room, was like, let that go. And then he walked. Well, what about? You can go out in that, but not with me. I was like, all right, get out of here. So I was able to finally let go that first group of things that I made, that I really love that were actually being rotated and worn in my closet. But now they're like regular clothes from the store. I mean, I know I made them and I know I put time in them, but if I know I'm not going to wear them anymore and this, that, and the other, I still have my sewing room. I know I can just go sit down and make more. So as long as I have that ability, I don't have problems getting rid of stuff in my closet. But for those of you out there who have not tossed away those first few items you ever made, including Alethea, I'm not going to lie, it is hard. It's
Oh
hard.
my gosh, it's hard.
It is very.
Yeah.
And
I
but
mean,
then
I
when
like
you
to consider mine like timeless pieces.
so did I until Keith
You
was
know,
like, time is up. So I had to let it
I
go.
lo- I love it. I love it. Time
Yeah,
is up. I
time is
really
up.
do need to go through because y'all, if y'all come in here, Anita, I would not let you in my house. I wouldn't, because you would, I would, you like, girl, that closet, what,
I'll come
you
to
know.
Georgia and take some of that fabric off of your hands.
Listen, and well, you see, this is not even half of the stuff. And when we went to Atlanta, what, year before last for the shopping, you were there, Carol. We went to
Mhm.
Fine Fabrics.
I
I,
did really well. Didn't you notice I only came home with about 4 pieces? And most of the time that we were in Fine Fabrics, I was answering questions. Miss Carol, what kind of fabric is this? What kind of fabric is this? What can I make out of this? So I was like all over the place, just kind of helping people. Now, my cousin, she's a new sewist, and I didn't want to leave her alone. But when I came back around the corner, I think she had all the Fine Fabrics in one cart.
oh, she did her shopping. She
I
did
was
her
like,
shopping.
"Oh my god." Yeah, so I was kind of trying to make it so she wouldn't go overboard cuz when you're a new sewist in a store like that, you just want to buy everything.
Yeah.
And when I
Mhm.
got back around to her, she had everything in her cart. You stuffed it. I was like, "No, honey, put this back." Why? I said, just you don't want that. Just, even like the stuff that is hard to sew, that'll break a needle. And I'm like, no. So
Yeah,
yeah, I had to help her pick.
yeah. And I always tell the new beginners, you need to learn about the different fabrics before you go out and start stashing. Don't do that. It's a huge distraction. It's a huge distraction.
Yeah.
It is.
I
It
remember
is.
when I first learned how to sew way back in the 90s, I think early mid 90s. I remember just going to the fabric store to buy for one project. I never stashed. I didn't know about stashing until I came into the online.
The community.
We didn't have the internet back then, or did we? No, we didn't have the internet in the early 90s. No. So
No.
anyway, I would go to shop for a project. I would buy the fabric for that single project, the notions just for one project at a time. I don't remember. I didn't do that. But
That's
when
how I started
I'm
off, the same way. I
yeah,
was the same way.
yeah. Come back in 2014 because I took a long break from sewing. Came back in 2013, 2014, and then learned about this online sewing community. And then I see all these people stashing fabrics. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? What are they doing? Oh, honey, I jumped on and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun
So
until
I
it
don't know.
was overwhelming.
But this is a good question though, as because we're so much talent is known for challenges, our monthly challenges, and so are so many others in the community. Like, hey Carmen, I see Carmen out here, and so many others. So do you think we are enabling people to stash, especially with all the sales, because I ain't gonna call no names. We've got people who promote, who announce the patterns that are on sale, and so I'm not gonna call no names, but yeah. So, do you feel like we're enabling people to build the stash, or are we helping or hurting?
I think both.
Good.
I think it depends on I think it depends on where the person is. I mean, we're all adults. We can all make our own decisions. We don't have to
Right.
go and do what everybody else is doing, but it is tempting. It's very tempting. When I came in, like I said, I didn't know about this stashing until I came in the community, but I wasn't new to sewing either. I already knew
Mhm.
how to sew, and I knew a little bit about fabrics, not a whole lot, but I knew a little bit about them. So coming in and seeing what everybody was doing, I jumped on the bandwagon because it was very tempting, and I felt like, okay, if I can already have the fabrics at home, when I get ready to sew another project, I can go through my own stash like they're doing and pick out a fabric. So to me, it was tempting, but I saw a benefit in it of already having the fabrics at home. But then
Mhm.
when I started going every time there was a sale and overstashing, in my
Yeah.
opinion,
Yeah.
overstashing, it got overwhelming at some point. But I think it can be help or hurtful for the new people who
Hmm.
us doing it, and then they think that's the thing to do, so they come in and they start doing it not really knowing that you don't even understand different fabrics yet to
Right.
be doing that, and so they spend all of that money and then later on find out, well, i don't I don't even know
Don't know
what
what to do with
fabrics
it.
This
to
is not something I would normally know. And I somebody asked me, how there's questions, and I was asked, if you were a new beginner, what do you wish you known then that you know now? And
Mm,
the number one thing I wish I would have known is that just because it's a yard doesn't mean I need to buy it.
yeah,
And
Right.
learning fabrics makes a difference in how your project comes out. Because
huge.
of course, when
Right.
I got started in the beginning, I was buying stuff because it was a yard. And that's when Walmart had their old real fabric department. And I didn't know what I was buying. I just knew how much it cost.
Mhm.
So, and then the most of my sewing very in the very, very beginning was for KC, and he was just a baby. So I was
Mhm.
literally buying 50 cent a yard or quarter cent a yard remnants, just to make him little jumpsuits, just to practice. But when
Mhm.
I started buying and said, okay, I'm gonna make something for myself, I was just buying stuff, that I thought was pretty to the eye, but I had no idea that it was a home deck fabric or was a this type of fabric. I
Mm,
just bought it. And then, once you buy it, that's it. And then you make it, and that project is bad, and your boobs are smashed, and you can't move. And, I wish somebody would have told me that. And I also wish somebody would have told me that just because it's $15 a yard, you can still buy it. Because when you look at how much a skirt costs in regular retail,
Yeah.
it's $29.99. So if I spend $15 a yard and buy 2 yards, that's $30. It's a
That's the
choice
same.
quality fabric, and it's
Right.
custom because I'm making it. But it's the
That's
same
it.
price,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I had no schooling on that, and I found that out when I decided to work at Hancock Fabrics part time. I said, this is the way I can learn about fabrics, know what they are, what they're used for. So that was probably not a job, it was more of a knowledge based, uh,
Mhm.
sponge opportunity that I took. And I learned a whole lot. But by that time, I had already joined the pattern review community, and I had learned about hoarding patterns and getting all the fabric you can get. But I was making better choices maybe about 4 or 5 years into my sewing journey.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I'd have known that like right off the bat.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
I'm just sitting here while you talking, and somebody did drop as I was thinking it. Diana brought Walmart up because we went through that phase. Walmart hit the stores, and everybody went crazy with Walmart collecting fabric because it was like you said, $1, $2,
Hmm.
$3. You could buy it in
It was a
bundles.
real fabric store. Now
Yeah. And then we
I
went
wouldn't buy
through
nothing from them.
the Mimi G phase, when
Hmm.
melanated fabrics came out and everybody wanted to do the melanated fabrics and everybody was jumping on board. So it's a lot. It is a lot of temptation out there, but I like the fact, Anita, what you said is that, especially for beginner sewers, learning the fabrics first instead of just buying because somebody else has it or it's pretty or it looks nice, without even knowing what to do with it. That's how we start building stash.
Yeah.
And but I do like that the good part about a lot of the challenges are like I would say, like for us, every year we do the stash busting challenge. Like we do that fabric fast, which a lot of people don't like to see come around, and some people embrace it. Now that we've gotten into it, that every year in January we do that fast for this purpose to stop buying fabric and sew up what we do have. And
Yeah.
so that's the pros about the challenges. Like what Carmen does, and the Black Swan Network does a lot. Do a lot of the challenges because then you can sew up what you have.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Hmm.
start using the patterns that you have.
Yeah.
I think it's when we don't utilize what's already in our stash. There's nothing wrong with buying fabric, but if you're just collecting it and you're not doing anything with it, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's
Yeah.
when we have to go back into that swap series that you did, Anita.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the
Go
reality
back
is
through it
when
and start destashing.
yeah, when we do that, with at least this has been my case when I did that decluttering, back in 2018, I saw that I had all of these fabrics, even though I had only been, I think, back for since 2014, I had came back to sewing. So for 4 years, I had been collecting fabric. And when I did that declutter in 2018, I realized that I had fabrics that I liked back then when I chose them that were, I was looking at them like, oh, I don't even like this anymore. Like, oh, why do I have this? you know? So
Hmm.
that's part of the downfall of it too. When you're stashing and you have so much, I don't know about Carol, but you can go back and look at it later on and be like, I don't want this anymore. I'm not going to use this. You know what I'm saying? But that, and
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said, Alethea, about, um, I think we were talking about new beginners and learning the fabrics. I don't know if there are any beginners here, but just in case, or if somebody comes and watches it later, there are books, because you may say, well, I don't know how to pick fabrics. I don't know. How do I know what to use to sew a top or pants or whatever? There are so many books on the market that teach you about the different types of fabrics. And then also you can order swatches from the different fabric stores online, where if you decide, okay, I want to sew a top and it says to use a lightweight or whatever, it'll give you the list if you're using a
Hmm.
commercial pattern of the different types of or fabrics that you can use for that. Well, you can go to these online fabric stores and order swatches, and they're usually like $1. So you can order the swatches, get them in your hand, fill them. This is if you don't have a local fabric store, because some people don't have those. They don't have access to a store. So get the fabric and fill it, just to get an idea of what it's going to feel like. And another thing that I suggest doing for beginners is go into your closet and look at your own labels on your ready to wear clothes, the clothes that you buy. If you want to sew a top, get out some of your tops and see what type of fabrics that they use that you like, and then use that as your guideline. But yeah, learn those fabrics before you start stashing. And I know it's tempting, but
It's very tempting. And make a swatch book. You should be able to make your own swatch book.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make your
Now
own
that's something
swatch
I
book.
teach when I teach my sewing classes here. And I actually do like a scavenger hunt. I tell them, give them something to look for, so that they can create their own books. They can feel the fabrics, they can learn what they are. I tell them to take a snapshot of the end bolt. I teach them how to shop
I
for the
like that.
fabrics, so that
Mhm.
way because you're kind of doing a scavenger hunt anyway. When you go out here looking for these fabrics, it's not like you have all the wools in one place and all the knits in one place.
Yeah,
You kind of have to just search for it. So this
yeah,
helps them learn how to look for stuff and learn how to read labels and identify content, fiber contents and stuff like that.
yeah,
So if they create their own fiber book, then they'll be able to thumb through it and feel it and know what they're looking at.
exactly.
You know.
Yep.
And then if you know what fabric you're working with, then you know how to better prep and prepare when you work on your project, as you're
Right.
going through the process. Which one of these fabrics do I need to really wash first? Which one of these fabrics need to be super pressed? How high do I need my iron? How low do I need my iron? So you just learn so much
Yeah,
from each fabric, and then you're bringing way down the chances of having a water for a project.
Right. Exactly. I was just thinking that because, like me, I now, as long as I've been sewing, I still will come across produce a water because, like, take for instance, we did a challenge with BSN with Nikki uh, pattern, the tunic top and the pants. Love the outfit. I paid a good penny for that fabric, but I didn't pay attention to the stretch capacity of that fabric.
Mm.
So although it was nice and I loved how it came out, I had to kind of squeeze in it to make it work because it didn't have enough stretch to it. But those are the things that we don't really talk about a lot. How to make stuff. The stretch capacity. We don't talk about the pick and knit rule, and you know, we just get a fabric and jump right in it. But
Another
all of
thing
this, like you said, if you know your fabric content, you know what fabric needs to go with what pattern, you'll be less likely to produce a water.
Another thing that stopped me from producing quite a few waters is back a few years ago when I finally decided, okay, I'm going to wardrobe sew for myself. And I've been doing that since I decided. I've been doing that uh, going forward all the way up to today. Is when I buy a pattern, I make sure it's something that I like, that I know will look good on me,
yep,
and definitely that I like. It'll fit my style, it'll fit my uh everyday life or whatever it is that I have to do for the day. So I stopped, watching the internet. I mean, I still watch the internet, and I still love, a lot of the things that people are making, but I don't run out and buy the pattern anymore. I
yep,
only buy the pattern if I think it's going to benefit me, because I'm short and a square. So I can't wear, I got some secrets, so I can't wear the back down to my butt and all of that. So I'm not going to buy those patterns. So if I see somebody else that made it, it's wonderful, and I will definitely comment. But I don't run out and buy the patterns that everybody else, oh, it's a sale, I'm gonna go get this, I'm gonna go get this.
Right.
So when New Look had the pattern, I had just had a fight with New Look patterns. And I came out looking like Rocky Balboa, but I won. If it, and so when everybody was saying New Look is 99 said, I had some trauma. So I was seeing everybody on, okay, here's my new look patterns.
You had
I was just,
PTSD.
yeah, I did. I did. I was traumatized. I was scared to go in the Hobby Lobby. And when I saw the box, it was like, come on over here. But
Oh my God.
I only bought about 6 patterns, and they were ones that I said, maybe I'll take this one, maybe not. Those maybe nots. And and so I just grabbed 6. Oh, the other ones was going, pick me. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
Oh
still
my goodness.
traumatized. So I
Well,
didn't get like a slew of the new look patterns. So I did really good for the new look sale. And
oh my
then
goodness, y'all.
I'll
I
go
came
in
out
and
with
get
like
one.
30.
See,
I think I came out with 28 of those patterns.
and I
Yeah.
even went to there's 3 stores near me, and I went to all 3 of them, but I felt that trauma as soon as as soon as I saw a new look, I was like, Adrian, I felt just like Rocky.
You got
I
beat up
couldn't
by New
see.
Look.
Oh man, my last new look pattern was not nice. And here's the
Oh my.
funny part about it: it's one of the dresses that's in my rotation, and I wear it quite a bit. But I won't make that
Wow.
thing again, and I won't recommend that anybody else make it. But I got
Wow. But you know what? New Look became my Vogue. Like when I was younger, as a teenager, I started out sewing Vogue because I love Vogue because it was trendy. I loved all the
Mhm.
designers. Like all the designers were like runway designers, and that was my thing. I loved everything on the runway, and so all I would sew was Vogue. But I was sewing since I was young, so I was pretty advanced to do it. But then as I got older, New Look became like the trendy pattern for a season. And I was
Mm.
so New Look. So I got a lot of those in my stash. But
Mhm.
I'm curious to find out how many shop the New Look sale and how many patterns did you buy? One. And then I want to know what's the oldest fabric that you have in your stash. So if you would type that in the comments. But
Ooh.
we have
While
a
they're
few
typing
questions.
that, can I share a resource going back to the fabrics?
Yeah, sure.
And beginners knowing how to choose fabrics. This is one of the books that I think is so
It's great.
this
Hmm.
is a jewel. This is golden. If you don't have it, I highly recommend getting this because it's very helpful. It has a lot of information about different fabrics. Here's a long list of all the different fabrics they have in the book. And for each one of these fabrics, they give you a layout of, so they tell you a little bit about the fabric here. Then they tell you how to pre-treat your fabric, how to cut it, what type of interfacing to use, what type of thread to use, the type of needle, which is very important that you should be using, the stitch length, the presser foot, the layout, how to mark it, the best tool, the best type of marking tool for that particular fabric, the seam finishes, pressing, top stitching, closures and hems. And so for each one of the fabrics that are listed in that book, they tell you how to work with the fabric. And this is so helpful. So if you're a beginner and you want to learn about fabrics, this will be a great tool for you, along with getting swatches so that you can learn how to use the fabrics.
All right. So if
Great
you didn't know that,
resource.
you heard. And Anita, for those of you that may not know, and I'm sure most people that are on here already know this, we might have some watchers that are not familiar with what you're doing, but Anita has an online class where she teaches this, and we'll talk about it. I'll let you give all that information just a little bit because somebody did ask about that. So we'll get all of your credentials and where they can find you and how they can join in on your classes. Um, but there are a few questions, and one now this is how there are a couple of questions and that we'll get into. So y'all hold on. I think I start most of them so we can go back to them. But Anita, I was talking about how we don't have to go into details of how long ago we met, but we've been rocking with each other like way back. And we first met each other during my very first sewing retreat.
Oh,
That was back in 2018. And
wow.
but doing yeah, that was and I was so excited. I actually found a picture, that we took together. I meant to upload it here, but I gotta go way back. I'll post it later. But I remember something about you at that time which stuck with me, which drew me to your page. and somebody asked a question about it. But you used to always say, when you live in your design, it is there that God shines.
Yeah.
So I had the same question that Lady Nick, Talktown, asked. You don't use that in your hashtag anymore. So what made you change your hashtag?
Um,
Your tagline.
my sign off. There was
Yeah.
actually it wasn't planned. It wasn't like something I put thought into.
Hmm.
It just kind of drifted off. I didn't
You just
stop.
trying to evolve.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to stop because of this or that. Nothing happened. I just stopped. I don't know why, but I have not stopped loving Jesus. I have not stopped shouting out the name Jesus. I have not stopped
Right.
praising Jesus. I have not stopped boldly talking about my God, my Lord, and my Savior. That will never change. So the tagline may not be there, but the presence of God is all over this. He's all over this. He always
Yeah,
will be. So you will hear
definitely.
me talk about God sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. I just stopped.
Well, it's a good segue into talking about the things that you are into now because like you have become that tagline. Like you are
Maybe
shining
that's
now.
it.
Yes, you have evolved into that tagline. So now you don't have to write it out, you don't have to say it, but you are that tagline now. Like you are shining in your design. And so everything that you were building up to, like, and I know this could be a whole nother conversation. As a matter of fact, I'm working on another series, another live that I want to invite you into. We'll talk about that offline. But you are living in your design right now, and it's gone beyond sewing like
Yeah.
SEW. I actually have a tagline myself, sewing a sewer sews.
Yeah.
But you are sewing. Like you're not just SEWING, but you are sewing. And so many of us like follow you and walk with you on your journey of the good, the bad, and the ugly. But now you're shining. So tell us about everything that you're doing right now, um, and tell us how that's impacted, how that's impacted your life now and what your plans might be for the future.
Oh, okay. Woo, that's heavy packed. So when I first decided I was gonna start a blog and start a YouTube channel back in 2016, one thing I asked God was, God, help me to represent you well in this space. That was the main thing that I was concerned with. I said, I don't want to go out there and put myself out like I'm, this and that. And like, I didn't want all the attention to be like, Anita, Anita, Anita. Like, it's all about Anita. So I said, God, help me to represent you well. So every time I would start a post, and that was part of the tagline too, because I wanted it to be crystal clear that I am a woman of God and I am here by God's grace, and I want to serve him in this space too. So
Right.
when I would write my posts, I remember in the very beginning stages, or the very beginning of starting the blog, that I would start off with some type of inspirational message or whatever. If you go all the way back to the beginning, that's what I would do. And that was because I wanted to establish myself in the community with a certain, what's the word? I wanted people to know me as a woman with integrity, as a woman of faith. I just wanted people to know that, and I felt like I needed to say it in order for people to know it up front, right?
Right.
So, and people got it. People did get it, and some of the comments that I would receive in the beginning on those blog posts was, I came here for sewing, SEW, but I'm getting so much more. And
Yeah.
that's when I said, okay, God, okay, thank you, Lord. That's what I was hoping for. And so I continued. And you guys know the story I went through. I started the blog in 2016. My husband was diagnosed with brain cancer in 2017, and then he died in 2018. And so after he died, I didn't know if I was going to continue because I didn't know how to use the cameras. He did all of my photos. He did all of my videos for the YouTube channel. I didn't know how to use them. I watched him, but I was like, well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I decided I love it. I love sewing and I love teaching people. So I said, I'm going to learn. And I just got on YouTube and I started searching through videos and learning how to, use the cameras. But for my YouTube channel, my husband used a real, like the on your shoulder, what do you call those big movie cameras? I don't know what you call them, but he used that. So I started out trying to use that and I was so confused. And so I learned that people were actually using DSLR cameras. And I didn't even know what that was. I was like, what's a DSLR? Well, it's the camera he was using to take your pictures. So I just started looking at videos on how to do that. And I learned how to do it. I learned how to take my photos. I learned how to record the videos, and they were not good in the beginning, but I just kept going. I kept going. And so here I am today, and everything has improved and I continue to improve. So in 2020, that's when I wrote the book. So going through my grief and healing journey, I just learned things, and I just felt God walking me through the process and just helping me through the process. And throughout the entire time, I was very open and public with my journey. I shared with people, and that was not just to be sharing my business. It was helping me. It was really helping me because I like to write. And for me, I write better than I speak. That's how I feel. So I would just write down my feelings and just put it out there. And then people would encourage me. And that was so helpful for me during that time. So I kept doing that. And then people started asking me or making comments about, you should write a book. Have you considered writing a book? And so I brushed it off at first, and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not putting my life out there like that. But it kept coming. And so I just said, God, is this you? Is this you? Am I hearing from you that this is what you want me to do? And after a while, I decided, okay, yep, I think this is it. A couple of other things happened that confirmed to me that I was to write a book. So I wrote the book and put it out there and shared way more than I had intended to share. But what I learned after that, because I was afraid to share some of the things I've shared in the book, and you guys, I think you read it. I don't know. But anyway, I was afraid to share things, but I did. And then I heard from people that it helped them. So I was like, okay, I understand why I had to do that. So that was in 2020. I wrote the book, released it in 2021. And then I launched my sewing course in 2021. And that's something that I didn't think I was going to do because it's something that my husband and I had planned to do together. And after he died, I was like, well, I guess I don't know how to use the camera, so I'm not going to do that. But I did it in 2021, and it was a huge success. I was shocked that so many people wanted to sign up right away. And the reason I was shocked is because I had been on YouTube for 5 years at that point, and I thought to myself, nobody's going to want to pay for an online sewing course when I've just been giving it away all these years for free. Why would they pay? But when I launched it, people started signing up so fast that I had to shut the doors. I said, okay, after 100 people, I'm going to shut the doors because I got scared. And I was feeling like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to serve them, because I created a private Facebook group so that I could interact with people and answer questions. And I didn't want to be overwhelmed with too many or too much. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So I shut the doors after 100. And I said, okay, let me take care of them first, and then I'll open the doors again later. Well, after that first year, or I think 6 months or however long it was before I launched or opened the doors again, I saw that I was able to manage the conversation in the Facebook group. It wasn't overwhelming at all. And so I said, okay, so I opened the doors again and then let the doors stay open. So I did that. And what else did I do? I've done a lot. And I'm in a space now where I just feel like it's been 6 years that my husband passed away. And I really feel like I'm just starting to blossom again. Like, I feel like the old me, the new me. Like, I feel like I'm coming back into my groove again. Here in the sewing space. And even in my personal life, I just really feel like I'm becoming vibrant again. And I feel good and I feel happy. Like my joy never left me because my joy is from the Lord. My joy is here because the Holy Spirit resides within me, and that will never leave me. No circumstance of life will ever be able to take away my joy, but the happiness is circumstantial. And so I'm happy again. And I don't call it a grief journey anymore. I call it a healing journey. And I will continue to heal as I go through life and allow myself to go through, the different things that come up, So right now I've made a lot of major changes in my life. I changed churches this last year. I changed churches. I made a huge financial choice. And then I also changed my lifestyle. So I switched over to a whole foods, plant-based lifestyle. And that was last July. And as a result of that, I lost a lot of weight. And I didn't go into it to lose weight. I went into that because I had been having inflammation in my knees for a long time, years. And after my husband passed, it got worse. And I went to the doctors, I went to chiropractors, I went to orthopedic doctors, and I had my knee drained of fluid, all of that, but the pain would just come back. And I ran across this doctor online, and she's a medical doctor. So she has the medical background, but she teaches you how to eat for healing. And the reason I was drawn to her is because she had been diagnosed with lupus when she was 16 years old, and they gave her chemo for 2 years because they couldn't heal her. They couldn't help her. And then eventually she met her husband, and he put her on, he is a trainer. He put her on a program because they were going to get married and she wanted to lose weight. Well, she lost the weight, but when she went back for her appointment, there were no lupus markers, no whatever those ANA, whatever, it was gone, and they didn't understand, and she didn't either. And she said, the only thing I changed was my diet. And then everybody said, oh. So she and her husband, they started testing it on other people. And sure enough, people started reversing all of these different diseases and illnesses simply from diet. And so I said, oh my gosh, this is what I've been praying for. So I said, I'm going to give it a try. I jumped in hardcore, cold turkey. I completely cleared out my refrigerator of all meat, dairy, no process. I didn't eat a whole lot of processed foods anyway, but I cleaned my pantry, everything. And I started fresh and went hard. Within 2 weeks, I felt my knee loosening up. Within 2 months, the pain, I was able to bend, and I was walking normal at the park because I was limping at the park, and I was walking normal again. And now, so this was last July, I have no pain and I feel amazing. Wow. So losing all of that weight, my clothes that I've made don't fit anymore. They're all too big. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So I said, okay, I'm going to go through my closet again and start over. I'm going to start over because those clothes are sitting there, and I'm thinking, oh, I made these. Maybe I'll gain the weight back. But the way my lifestyle is now and the way I feel, I'm fine with the weight. And at first it was a problem because I didn't want to lose weight. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need to lose weight. I don't want to lose weight. I'm going to look sick. And I was thinking about all of that. And I dropped weight fast, and I started feeling terrible. Like, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm sick, all of that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so I decided, because at the beginning, I wrote down my why. I wrote down a very detailed why. Why am I doing this? Why am I changing my lifestyle? And I wrote very detailed, all the reasons why I'm doing it. And every time I would start feeling like that, or looking in the mirror at myself and seeing how much weight I was dropping, I would go back to my why, because I was tempted to go back to eating the old way because I didn't want to lose weight. And then at one point I said, okay, I'm losing weight to gain health. That was my thing. I'm losing weight to gain health. And I'd rather have the health instead of the toxic inflammatory weight. And so that has helped me throughout the process. So what I decided is I'm starting over. I'm going to sew myself an entirely new wardrobe, and it's okay. So I went through and picked out the clothes that don't fit me anymore, which were the majority of them. And I've packed them up. I packed them up, and then there were a few pieces that I held on to because I was like, "Oh my gosh, this was a lot of work, and this was." And I don't like doing alterations. I can't stand doing alterations, even on clothes that I make. I would rather sew an entirely new garment before doing an alteration. But I kept those few, and I said, "Okay, I'm gonna dedicate the time. I'm gonna invest the time to alter these because I want to keep them." But yeah, so right now I am in another swap season. I'm in another
That's what
season,
it sounds like.
yeah, yeah, and I'm sewing things that, like I said earlier, that fit my current lifestyle, things that I'm going to be wearing over and over. I've been doing series or not series, but collections so that I can mix and match things, and that's all intentional. It's all very intentional. I just want to make sure that this time, the things that I'm sewing, I'll be able to wear a lot. And so when I went for that new look sale, I was buying patterns that I can use to make dresses for church because I hardly have any church clothes now, So yeah,
Wow.
it was
So
probably more
yeah, it
information
does.
than
It
you asked
sound like you are in another swap series, and you've
for.
added on with the food, how you eat, and
Yeah,
being intentional. That was the other thing that we walked away with that swap series, is being intentional, and that's what sewing with the plan is all about. Being
yeah,
intentional how we sew for your needs, sew for building the wardrobe, and we were talking about collections at that time as well. Being able to interchange pieces so you don't have a whole lot of just pieces, but
yeah.
they can all correlate with each other.
But
Hmm.
Um,
this is
I,
trouble for me now because Anita's been posting her new outfits and I've been running to the fabric stores. I didn't
but you know
know
what, Carol, you've
nothing.
been sewing up your clothes though. You've been doing great.
I have been, but
At
she's
least
make
you're
she's
sewing.
making them faster than she makes them. I buy them. The fabric comes in while I'm in the middle of another project.
Wait
Oh
until
my
you see
goodness.
what I'm working on now, Carol.
Oh
Oh
my god!
my God. Oh,
I saw the yummy caramel pants. I'm
baby.
done. I'm done. I'm
I just
done.
saw the sewing machine going. I didn't see the
Oh,
pants yet,
The
so
core fabrics.
oh,
When I saw that, I was like,
yeah. Yeah, she went in order.
I
so
have to look and keep it moving, y'all.
and I send her a DM every time. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't do this again.
Look, all I can do is
I
send
tell
my
her
little
every day,
five
I'm gonna stop
hearts.
watching you. I'm not watching you anymore. Then now on Instagram, she's got this delicious fabric.
Baby, when you see this, you're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, gotta have those patterns." I'm telling you, you're gonna want them, Carol. You're gonna want them.
Carol, you can't have them.
I
Don't give them to her. Don't let her
cannot.
have them.
No, I'm just filling up everything I gave away last summer.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I want to address a couple of people. Somebody way back, I don't know if they're still on here, but we were talking about waters, and they want to know what was waters. They spelled it water, like water, Watters, but it's waters, Wadders. And waters are those garments that we make and we have mishaps, or something's going wonky and wrong with them, or we just put it aside because we don't like it no more, or it don't fit right. It's destined for file 13, basically.
And it's usually one that you complete with the zipper. You may get the zipper in, maybe you get the buttonholes in, but waters actually they go for me, they're garments that go really far, and when I put them on, I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
This is not. You know how whenever I put a garment on, I think about being in the dressing room at the store and they have that 360 mirror and all those other mirrors. And when I put it on, if I say no, the whole garment is out of the window. I won't even salvage the zipper. I I may take the buttons off, but I'm just like, I don't want to see no parts of this. I'm done. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do whatever I can to limit the waters because I will toss the whole garment.
Yeah.
So
I won't
One of
even
the things
start a
that
new
we talked about, of being, in order to avoid that, we talked about it a little bit earlier, is knowing the fabrics, the right fabrics to go with the patterns, knowing your style. because a lot of times we just sew because somebody else is making the pattern or we're on that trend. Everybody's doing it. I'm gonna do that pattern too. But does it look good on you? Is it the right silhouette for you? That's how you get waters too, because you sew something because everybody else is doing it, but it's not for you and it doesn't look right. So one of the things that I want to work on is sharing more about silhouettes and styles. What looks good for your body type. What my thing is accentuate the positive and downplay the negative.
Yeah.
And kind of bring a balance, to everything.
Mhm.
And so that's something that's kind of missing in the community. As we put things together. Most people get it right, but then there are some things out there. It's like, no, that's not working. But and a lot of times we do it. It's all in fun. We're sewing, and it's teaching us skills. As we do this. But then again, we might not even wear it because we find, okay, I like it. I love the fabric that I use, but this ain't hitting on me. You know, so we want to minimize those. Um, there are a couple of people, Anita, that have joined the bandwagon with you or doing the same thing that you are. Let me say it this way, and that's D with Patterns by D. Hey D, and Carmen. They're both vegan. Is that right? Is that what you call it, vegan? Or
Yeah.
they're doing the plant-based diet?
Yes.
I get that so confused.
Yeah. You know what? There's a difference. Okay, so I'm new to this, but as far as my understanding, maybe Carmen can correct me if I'm wrong. But okay, so I'm whole foods plant-based. That means I eat fruits and vegetables. I eat foods. Okay, I eat whole foods that have not been processed. So I don't eat stuff from the box in the can, and I don't eat anything that's been processed. So I eat like in the mornings, I have my smoothies with fresh greens, fresh fruit, flaxseed, fresh turmeric, fresh ginger, all fresh stuff. So everything I eat is fresh, whole foods. And I think vegans who are not whole foods plant-based, they eat like the other stuff too. I don't know. Carmen can correct me if I'm wrong. Because I know they have vegan cheese and other vegan stuff. Like some vegans do the what is it, just meat or the plant-based meat stuff?
I know what you're talking about. It's some kind of meat-based
Beyond meat.
product.
Beyond meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't eat any of that stuff. I just eat whole foods, fresh foods.
Well, I learned there was a difference because Carmen and I think it was LaShawn, when they came to the sewing retreat, this last sewing retreat that we had, I tried to accommodate everybody. Well, even with this retreat that you were at, Anita, because I knew nothing about being vegan, because I'm meat carnivore, eat all of this stuff, but I try to accommodate the guests. And so in that retreat that you were at, Anita, they were supposed to do vegan dishes. And I don't know if you were vegan at that time.
No, I wasn't.
But they had something I probably wouldn't even eaten it. It looked like pate, and it just, I don't know what it was, but it looked like something I wouldn't eat. But I knew nothing about what to, ask for. I just told them, hey, look, I've got people that are coming, they're vegan, just, provide something for them. Even with the one that Carmen and LaShawn were at, I don't know how many others were there that were vegan, but I thought they were vegan. So there's a difference. I learned that there was a difference between being vegan and being, it was something else that they called it.
Whole foods plant-based. I like at home, I have all of my fresh ingredients, but if I go like out to dinner or like an event or something like that, I'll eat other vegan food. Like I won't just starve and not eat. Like I'll eat.
Right.
But there's just certain things that I won't touch. And it's
I
because
like what Dee says. She says you eat nothing with eyes and a mouth.
That's it.
that's
I've heard that. I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah. But I haven't been in it long enough to understand everything. So I'm just learning as I go about the differences. But I don't know. I just know what makes my body feel good. And a really good perk in this lifestyle is that I know exactly what to do if I start feeling some kind of way. Like if I get a knee in my pain, okay, I know what I need to do. Like the food, like, you know how they say food is medicine? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God.
Uh-huh.
I've heard it all my life, but now I believe it because I'm living it and I know how to correct. Like if I get a sniffle or something, I know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's the food. I know what to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's incredible. But I mean, it was made for us to eat, right? I mean, it's all natural, it's all here, and
Yeah.
just tapping into that. And that's something that I really have to get into, you know,
Yeah.
because I hear so many people say that they feel so much better the way they eat, their whole lifestyle is different. I mean, I look at you, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
feel
you look
I
amazing.
feel good. I That's the main thing. I feel good. But the whole lifestyle change and becoming whole foods plant-based was not just the food, it's everything. Like I try to get my sleep, I drink a gallon of water every day, I exercise, I go outside and walk at the park after I exercise just to get that natural vitamin D, to get the sunlight, weather permitting. So it's a holistic lifestyle and trying to keep stress as low as possible. It's all of that. And when all of that is in order, I feel amazing, like amazing. And when I'm not getting my rest, I
Hmm.
feel it. I feel it.
Feel
And
it.
a lot of times, depending on what I'm working on in the studio, I'll try to stay up late. And so not like Carol though. Not like Carol.
How's
I
the
don't have a
resident
Swatch
night out?
watch. I don't have a Swatch watch clock, whatever you call it. At 4 or 5, 3 in the morning. I'm like,
3 in the morning.
why is she up?
Instagram dinging. This is Carol. It's 3 a.m. I'm like,
I'm
On
so
this
what?
old
exhausted.
Watch in the Chicagoland area. You have no idea
That
how
is
many
so funny.
DMs or when do you sleep DMs? When do you
Yeah,
sleep?
yeah.
Hey, but that's most of us. We're usually sewing. I'm one to talk though because I can be up 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning sewing. But I'm probably not going to be on Instagram though. You know,
Yeah, that's
doing
the
it.
thing. That's the thing. I'll if I'm up late, most of the time it's doing that, which is ridiculous. Scrolling and
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh.
That's my quiet, that's my creative time. I kind of come alive maybe about 10 o'clock is when I start, but I nap in the evenings. And
What
so
is a
when
nap?
well, maybe it's not a nap because it's like maybe 3 hours. I
I
get
don't even know what that
like
is.
sleep, but yeah. And then it's my quiet time. Everything settled down. Um, my boys are asleep, not my men's. My boys are asleep, and the phone's not ringing. You see the phone ring 3 times since I've been here. Phone's not ringing. There's no demands. I don't have to cook dinner and answer questions and that kind of thing.
Right.
So when it quiets down, it's like my sewing is like my release and everything. But when Keith goes to work, he says we sleep in shifts. So I usually stay up when it's time for him to go to work. We'll sit down and talk and chit chat before he goes to work, and then I'll go to bed. So when I usually do my sewing watch, I usually start when he gets up. I can hear him up, getting in the shower and things like that. I can hear it throughout the house. I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. Let me do my little, because I had so many people come up to me in frock tails. Oh my God, I watch your Instagram when I'm getting ready for work. When do you go to sleep? When you go to work. That's when I go to bed. So I usually lay down in maybe about 6 or 7 hours, and then I get up, and that's when I kind of start my day, but or start my afternoon. How about that? Yeah. So that's kind of how it works for me.
Mhm.
Wow.
But there
Well,
are
my
some
my
times that I don't stay up all night.
my studio in here seems like it's revolving. Like I'm in one place. Once I leave my day job, I'm here at the studio, and I can't sleep when I can get it in there. That's how my day goes.
So I'm like Anita. I have to get my rest, and I think it. People are just like, when do you sleep? Because I'm usually up at night, but no, I have to get my rest, or else I sit down and I'll fall asleep in the chair, and I'm like, I can't do that. So I do get my sleep. I'm not 35 anymore,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
And
you do have to listen.
we need more rest at these ages.
Well, look,
My
that's what
body
they
is
tell
like,
me.
sit
You're
down.
not a teenager no more. You need to sleep. I'm like,
Exactly.
well, when can I sleep?
Right.
When?
My body
But
is like,
listen, ladies,
shut it down.
yeah, I need to learn to do that. I'm gonna add that to my SWAT list, to my
Shut it
plan.
down.
But listen, it is 8:35. I have kept you all, but it's been a joy talking with you both, bringing it back to the table about swapping. And for those of you that's just coming in, sewing with a plan. And Anita has been sharing with us her journey and how she got to even start the blog series Sewing with a Plan. You could go to her blog, Anita by Designs, and type in the search engine there, swap, I think it is, and you can see, I think it's like a 6-part series.
Yeah.
It's in different stages and it's awesome. It's something that you could just go back and look at and utilize it now. But not only have you done that, you're teaching, so you have that series, you have that going on. You're ministering now. You're a public speaker. You're an author. So tell us all where we can find you, and tell us about your websites and all of that.
Yeah, everything. You can find everything on anitabydesign.com. When you click onto the website, it's the home page. And if you scroll down, you'll see everything, or you can click on the tabs at the top. There's a sewing tab, and that's where all of the sewing related stuff is. And when you click on the sewing tab, you'll have to click into one of the blog posts in order to get the search bar. And when you get the search bar, you can just type in swap, and it'll take you to that series, all of the different posts. And then I play on Instagram and Facebook, both at Anita by Design. And then for the sewing course, my sewing course is called Learn to Sew, Mastering the Basics. And it's a course for new beginners, like people who have never even touched a sewing machine before. Now, of course, just in case anybody asks, there are people in there who have had some experience, who wanted to come in for a refresher, or who wanted to come in and learn all over again. But just so you'll know, I designed it for new beginners. So it's very, very detailed, step-by-step, slow paced, and it is self-paced course. So all of the videos are pre-recorded. So you get to go through and watch them at your own pace, when it's convenient for you. And that is on the website too. So when you click on to anitabydesign.com and just scroll down, you'll see the tab and the link that'll take you directly to the sewing course page, and then you can read all of the information. You can see the syllabus of everything that you're going to learn, and then there are frequently asked questions, and I highly recommend that you read all of those questions so you will know exactly what you're getting into if you decide to join my course. There is 12 months access. It's the first cohort of students who came through had lifetime access, and I learned a great lesson from that, so I changed it. So it's 12 months. You learn as you go, and it's 12 months access, and that's plenty of time to go through the course and do the projects and learn everything. So yeah, that's it. AnitaByDesign.com. And let me just say thank you for your support, Carol, Alethea. You guys have been so supportive of me from the beginning for all of these years. You've been by my side. When I first started, you were there supporting me, and then after going through the tragedy of losing my husband, you were there supporting me. And now that I'm coming back into myself, you're still there supporting me, and I cannot tell you how much it means to me and how much I love you ladies, like real, you hear I love you just as a passing statement. Oh, I love you. I really do. You mean so much to me, and just thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I love
I
you
love you.
too. I know.
I love you.
It's been a long time, right?
I
know.
know.
God.
I know.
It has.
It
We
has.
have to do this. We have to get together again at some point.
Yeah.
We will.
We shall.
Carol,
Yes.
listen. I got with Anita. We met up first in 2018, and then you came along in 2019. Now that wasn't the first time we actually conversed because we talk on online, and everything. But we actually
Hmm.
got to be in person 2019 at my second summer retreat. So, and that was a blast. And when I met
Yes.
Carol, let me tell you, Carol is like a giant in the sewing community. Like
Yes.
she's a giant. But when I saw Carol, Carol was like this. I was like, Carol, I thought you were taller. I'm sure. Do you get that reaction all the time?
All the time.
Do
All
you?
the time. From anybody and everybody. And it's because usually I meet people on the phone or in a meeting at work or whatever. And I have never had a small personality. I always had a big personality. So when I go and I meet people, it's kind of like, I didn't know you were so short. And some people don't mean to say, they don't mean to say it. So, I was like, "Ah, don't hey, don't worry about it. I have a big ego." And then that kind of breaks the ice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I met Anita at one of Mimi G's conferences,
Yeah.
and we just started talking. You know how you just click with people,
Hmm.
and,
Mhm.
and we just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
But we had never talked before, so she didn't
Mhm.
say, I didn't know you're so short. But everybody else that I meet is like, "You're Carol."
I
Yeah.
think, you know what, Carol? I think we had met on Mimi's Facebook page. Remember, she had a private Facebook page. Weren't you in that?
Mimi's
Yeah,
darling.
but it was just literally, yeah, but it was just
Yeah.
commenting and
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Because I remember introducing you to my husband at that conference, and he fell in love with you. And I
Yeah, that was my buddy.
have a picture of you two together. Remember, you guys should see the picture because my husband was 6'4"
He's
and
about eight
I
tall. He's about
saw
eight
that too.
feet.
yeah, and they're hugging, and I'm like, that is so cute.
I
Like you
was
could
like,
just hold her in your.
Yeah, yeah. So we
he
met
was a
Oh my
giant.
gosh. But you know what, Anita, I was just trying to think how I first came in contact, how I first came to know you, and it was through that during that time Mimi had that conference,
all the time.
Mhm.
and you would post a lot then. And I was like, oh my God, who is this lady? And I was intrigued by your style then, and that's how I came to know you through
Okay.
Mimi G's page and through
Okay.
that conference. So yeah, I didn't go to the conference, but it was
Mhm.
through the things that you shared.
Okay.
And I think there were a lot of spotlights that you did. So that's how I was trying to remember how I first came
Oh
to know about
yeah.
you, and it
She
was
used to do
then.
the spotlight. She would have
Yeah.
so have a month or a week or whatever a spotlight. That's
Uh
right.
huh.
I remember that.
That's our goodness gracious.
Remember?
I forgot all
Yeah.
about the spotlight.
Yeah.
It was like a month. Was it a month or something? She would highlight or spotlight somebody, and they would
Uh
sew and
huh.
share their stuff.
Uh
Oh
huh.
my gosh, that was fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was awesome. But Carol, tell us, they want to know how to find you. You've got some stuff going on too. Like
Yeah, cocktail.
you they can find you everywhere, Carol. I think you visit everybody everywhere. But you got a lot going on. So tell them what's up, what's going on with you, how they can find you, and what's in your future.
Oh,
We lost your sound.
how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So on Facebook, you can find me on Carol's Sewing Corner. That's my Facebook group. You can find me on Instagram at ANSI2001, and that's my Instagram handle, TikTok handle. And then, of course, here on YouTube, it's Carol's Sewing Corner as well. Right now, I am heading up Frock Tales. We have a committee of 10 people, but active 9. And Chicago Frog Tales is June 8th and June 9th. And we are looking to have a huge party for all of you sewing enthusiasts. And Julian put it the best. that I've ever heard. He said Frogtails. He said this is what Frogtails is. You know how you make something and you tell somebody, "I made this," and they just stare at you or they say, "Oh, that's nice." At Frogtails, when you tell somebody you made it, you get celebrated. You can talk about the pattern, the process, and anything else that went into it. So that's the best way. So you will be amongst a whole bunch of creative weirdos who absolutely love everything you went through
Creative
to get that
weirdos.
outfit on your back. So yeah, that's Fractals. And then too, let me shout out to Corman. Corman is my niece. I love her to death. She's been doing all of our marketing. She's been yelling at me and everything, keeping me in line. So she's really been getting the word out there for us. And she has been a wonderful person that I have put under my wing. And her sewing has gotten so good. I'm so proud of her. I'm such a proud auntie. Oh my goodness.
I
But
always hear her in her video. She said, "I got to make sure I get this right because Auntie Carol, Auntie Clapper, is gonna get me."
so she's been doing a wonderful job at getting the word out there for us. And a lot of people are really excited about coming, and I'm glad that we have this good energy. We got a good, hardworking committee. And I've been, attacking this like I attack work. So I think it's going to be really good. And, when I got a soiree and my name is going on it, I got to make sure that it's coming out tips and tops. And for all of you who are watching, you will see me, and yes, I will appear very small. I had on high heels the other day, and everybody was like, even my own family, "You seem tall today." I was like, "I got shoes on today, you guys." So yeah, you will actually see me in all my short glory. And I got a little bit of surprise for on the 7th. BSN at Black Sewing Network and Sorority Wear are getting together, and they're hosting a cruise here in Chicago for everybody who arrives on Friday, which I think is wonderful. I bought my tickets, and they call Keith Unk since I'm
Uh-oh, your sound went out again.
only be there. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, yeah,
Now, so
yeah.
my husband has agreed to come to the cruise. So yeah,
Oh,
buckle up. You think I'm a handful?
well, I
He,
seen
he,
some of
he
him in
just got here.
action.
You probably can hear him, even though I got on a headset.
Oh my good, big pimping. Are y'all
Yeah.
gonna do some stepping?
Well, if I can get a beer or drink or something into him, then we will be able to.
Oh my goodness.
But other than that, he's gonna say no.
Oh my goodness. Well, Kara, I think you're gonna do an amazing job. I think from what I've heard, and Carmen has been doing a fantastic job of promoting it and getting the word out there. But
Hmm.
it sounds like it's gonna be amazing. I hate the fact that I'm gonna miss it this time around, but I'm sure you're gonna have more. I just know you are.
Well,
And
actually, we're turning it into an LLC, so
mhm.
it'll be Chicago Frogtails, and we'll be doing it every year.
Okay,
So yeah,
awesome. Well, I
we
have to
already
get
have
in
some
on that
sponsors
one of
coming
these years.
back, and yeah, some new sponsors, and oh yeah. So it's I'm like, if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it big. So
Might as well. Might
right,
as well. Well, it's
I
gonna
love
be awesome.
that you
I
guys
can't
are
wait to
making.
see all the pictures and the clothes and all because everybody's getting so ready for it. I can't. That's what I
yes.
look for, the fashions.
And everybody's posting and saying that they've made, what they're doing and everything. So I posted on Instagram today. I kind of had me and my jacket had to have a talk. And so the process is real.
Mhm, mhm. I love that you guys are making it a whole weekend. You're going
Hmm.
fabric shopping on Sunday, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
love that.
Mhm,
I've never been to a Frogtails event. I've never been to one yet. By choice, I didn't want to.
mhm,
But I love that, and I love the theme. Oh my gosh, I love
Hmm.
the theme.
I
I'm
love
like,
that
oh
theme too.
so
yeah.
everybody and ready. And I can't wait to see all the fancy frocks and the fun. And we even told people, if you're a new beginner sewer and you don't want to do an extravagant gown, or if you don't want to do this, if you just make bags, wear your clothes that you brought from the store, doesn't matter, but make a wristlet. Make whatever you can make or what you want to make. But I tell everybody, you can go ahead and make something small, but we don't want you to feel like, well, gee, I didn't make anything.
Mhm.
Mhm.
If you do
Yeah.
have something, my sister-in-law is a jewelry designer. I'm like, wear your earrings, wear your necklace. That's what you do. So,
Yeah.
Right,
yeah, you
right.
don't have to make a dress, but make what you make, and, do what you do. Come on out, have fun, and let other creatives, you know, fawn over you and enjoy what you do, because we all know about the process. We know what you went through. We know about that car ride to the store and all that stuff in the trunk. And when that other person went to work or whatever, you was running all that stuff in the house, thinking you sneaking it in. They know. And then, so, we know about everything that goes on. So it'll be nice to be with people that have like minds.
Yeah,
So
there's also a YouTube video with you and two other women. I forgot their names, but if you guys want to go watch that, because I
Yes.
watched it, and when I watched that, because I didn't really know exactly what goes on at Frog Tales. I just seen posts from previous years, and I was like, well, what is it? Is it just you go and show your garment and that's it? And I was like, I'm not interested in that. But when I listened to the interview, I was like, oh, they do more than, oh,
oh
okay.
yeah, we're
Whole thing
doing a
you're gonna have. I was like, oh, okay. But you guys, if you've never been, that's a good video to go and watch. Not an interview, but
Mhm.
it was like a conversation with you and
right.
two other
And
women talked
all
about it.
the conversations are on our YouTube page, and we have a Chicago Frog Tales YouTube page. So if you just go out on Chicago
Yeah,
Frog Tales, you can watch
yeah,
the interview. And
yeah,
yeah, it's literally an interview and a conversation about what Frog Tales is and what's
yeah.
coming up for
And
the
it was,
Chicago.
yeah, that was very helpful because I didn't really know. So after watching that, I was like, oh, now I can do this. So they're going to do more. They're doing more than just going down the aisle and sharing their. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't want to go fly out of town just to do that.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that I can do. Yeah,
And yeah, so the next day is gonna be shopping.
yeah,
And I'm gonna be good. And I'm gonna make sure everybody else is good.
Y'all heard her on here. You heard her. It's right here recorded. She's gonna be good.
Okay, so I had to visit the fabric store a couple times just to get everything in order, and I did not leave empty-handed. Let's just leave it right there.
We'll give you a pass because you're the creator. We'll give you a pass.
yeah.
All right, ladies. It's getting late. I know I've had you here for a long time, but is there anything that you want to share before you leave?
Iron, 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 iron your seams, please.
Yeah, yes.
That's it. It was wonderful being on with you, Anita. Anita. And Alethea, I'm gonna have to get you back up in the middle of the night again. You used to stay up with me back in the
Look,
day.
all you got to do is inbox me, and I'm up. Like
Okay.
last night, it
All
wasn't
right. Because
late,
I know you're a night owl too, so I'm gonna have to start inboxing you.
Definitely, definitely. How about you, Anita?
Let's see. Ditto to what Carol said. Press, 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 and we've already discussed this, but make sure you're choosing patterns that fit your personal style and your body. Just because someone else looks cute in it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you. Be very intentional about the patterns that you're choosing to sew for yourself and the fabrics that you're wearing, because that makes a difference. A fabric will make or break a pattern so quickly.
Easy, quick,
Wearing
quick.
something that's comfortable for you, and something that's perfectly fitted for or paired with the fabric. Not perfectly, but that pairs with the fabric.
Right, right.
And
Yeah, I
thank
have
you,
to agree.
Alicia, for doing this. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
both
for
for
inviting
being
me
here.
too.
I always enjoy having you both. Carol, you know what? I always always enjoy having you in on the conversation. But I have to ditto both of you. Definitely press, press, press. Find something, make sure your patterns and your fabrics mesh together, but make sure they go with your personality. But to lend to our conversation today, sewing with a plan, always have a plan, and you don't have to sew everything in a hurry. Everything
Ooh,
doesn't have to be sewn like right there. Take little bits of time. Like in the beginning, when we talked about sewing with a plan, my ideal was to, maybe the first day, get your projects together, decide what you want to sew, put it together. The second day, you can pre-treat your fabrics and cut your pattern pieces out. The third day, go ahead and cut your fabric out with the pattern. And then the rest of the time sew. But you can sew in little chunks, little time slots. And Brittany J. Jones has been very good about showing us how to sew in 30. So
Hmm.
you don't
mhm.
have to sew everything at once. And sometimes I think the sewing community, or some might get overwhelmed because they can't keep up, but if you just sew a little bits of times that you do have, before you know it, you'll have your whole garment sewn, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So that would be my word of advice. But I do want to thank you all for taking the time to sit with us and glean from these ladies. Make sure you're following their pages, their websites, and if you have questions, I'm sure they have places where you can contact them.
Hmm.
Make sure you take advantage of Anita's class. If you know somebody who's interested in learning how to sew, definitely make sure you send them to anitabydesigns.com. And if you want a good laugh at night, 3 o'clock in the morning, visit Carol. Carol is, you can find Carol at Ansi, is it Ansi 2001
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. She has her Facebook page, Carol Sewing Corner.
Hmm.
So make sure you're following her, and always, make sure you're following So Much Talent. If you like this and this has been good, please make sure you share this out and hit that notification button so you have more of this So Let's Talk series. We'll definitely have more of these coming up. But again, I thank you for watching. And again, ladies, I love you to life. Thank you so much. You all have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.